now you can see here that I'm starting to fill more of this in, and instead of necessarily going round and round, I'm kind of figuring out where I want to add little bits of things. And when I'm using like something like pink on top of this kind of icy blue color, it works pretty well. I can see exactly where I'm going, and I just add it where I think it should go. Now notice I'm not going into the middle anymore. I sometimes am looking and then kind of stabbing it through, kind of at a little bit of an angle. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, this is the little butthole that you're making. The little, what is it? Roald Dahl once described a little old lady's mouth in one of his books as puckered up like the backside of a cat. And I've never been able to not see that. So I just go round and round until I'm satisfied. It doesn't take very long. Rarely does this knot up. And I think I need maybe a couple more stitches. One right there. And then it just kind of starts looking like a little pink sunflowery starbursty pattern. The point is, you kind of want it to look like a little puckered up butthole. Now, there it is. It's done. Oops. So on the back, I'm just going to knot this off really quick. Here we go. And hide the tail, because I don't want any tails out of here. Put that away. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim, I don't know, that's about 2 millimeters from the edge. That'll give me just enough to sew it on. So now we have this thing right here, this little butthole, and the little butthole will go right there. We usually use a pin to hold it down. I just go through the center and get it positioned where I want it. Okay, and then you can see here, all I have to do is sew around the outside edge. Here you can see there's sewing along the outside edge, and I'm just going to use the same color that I sewed the piece together with. But again, I'm only going to use a single strand. Now, oh, that needle's too big. The reason I do this is because it just, okay, get in here, you little stinker. Wow, this is thrilling TV, I'm sure. The reason I do that is I don't want the stitch. This is one of those instances where the stitches can show, but I really just don't want them to show. And yes, I know I tie knots really in a very strange way. But then again, that's why you're here. So for here, I actually do a whip stitch. I've tried a couple of different stitches that I like putting these on with, but the one that I think looks the best is just a regular old whip stitch. So I come up underneath. Okay, here we are. And which direction do I want this to go? I want it to go right there. Coming up. I guess you call this a basting stitch? I don't know. It's just the one that I think looks the best. And I think I'm placing these about 2 millimeters apart, 1.5 millimeters apart. And again, trying to be really careful about where I'm putting the stitches. And here we go. That one's about 1.5 millimeters. I've got a little bit too much thread on this. It's kind of bugging me right now. And I go all the way around. Okay, let's see if I can get that a little. Oh, come here, you. You need, sometimes there are points in which I'm like, I'm not getting enough on there. So sometimes what I'll have to do, and I hate having to do this. Ouch! Wow, right in my finger. Sometimes what I'll do is, so I can get a better angle on it, I'll go back to another side. And this is just to make sure that I've got the stitch anchored in there well, because I want it to be holding on to enough of the felt. And this way I can get a little bit better angle at coming up back through here. And I got to admit, my carpal tunnel in my left hand is screaming right now. Like, my whole hand is kind of numb. So, I may not be doing things quite as well as when I'm warmed up. Now, when I'm done, then I stop and I take a look, and it's like, do I need any more stitches? And if the answer is no, then this is what I do. Here I am. I go back through. It's just like appliquing anything else on. Anchor it on the opposite side, going through. This is not a toy that's going to be played with, so I'm not, you know, unless you're sitting here picking at this butthole, I'll usually just do one knot and then pull it through and snip it off. And then there, puppy has a butthole now.